Welcome to the Sportscast. September 10th, 2018. Week 1 is under wraps. NFL has started. Kickoff has begun. And Aaron Rodgers already started a few miracles. To join us, Ryan Christa, welcome to the Sportscast.
Thank you, Santiago. Glad to be here talking about a little football here.
Exactly. Let's start with Aaron Rodgers last night. Unbelievable. He got injured in the first half. People thought, okay, this is was it for him for that game at least. He came off. He actually was carted off to the locker room, came back and won the game. What do you think about that?
It was quite the scene. Pretty unbelievable, if you ask me. Same thing you just said. When he. Even before he got cut off, the Bears had his mark, they couldn't get anything going. They had no first downs, and he gets hurt, and, all seems lost for the Bears, and then, 17-0 at halftime. Khalil Mack is literally a one-man destruction crew against the Packers, and they go up 20-0 in the beginning of the third quarter, and, there comes Aaron Rodgers on the field, and I don't know. He just looked like he was a determined man. I don't know. Sometimes when you're hurt, you get a little bit more focused. Everybody rallies, plays a little bit better. And, he was making great throws, but, his receivers are making great plays after the catch. Everybody, defense steps up. It was just kind of they were kind of rally around their leader, Aaron Rodgers, and it was a good night for the Packers, that's for sure. Surprising win, I think I'm more touchy. I think how much the Bears have improved too. They were, for 3 quarters a much better team. But the Packers, they had one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and they showed it.
Even though Chicago lost last night, it feels like the Khalil Mack investment is panning out.
Oh yeah, I think it was more of him, in the second half. Wearing out of that, he hasn't had any training camp, barely any practice, and it kind of showed. I think he just ran out of gas in the second half, but that whole team, I think they have, before they had Khalil Mack, I think they had a really good defense, but, obviously he brings it up even better, and he's one of the top 5 best defensive players in the league right now.
Now, have you heard of any reports on Aaron Rodgers? Do you think he'll be back, or do you think this little knee thing was just a knock?
I haven't heard anything. I don't think they would have let him go in the game if he was extremely hurt. My guess is it's a bad spring or something. Something where he couldn't really hurt it anymore. I guess we'll kind of hear in the next, today or the next day, what their real extent is. They're able, if they go get more X-rays done or MRI.
Maybe.
My guess is that something. Yeah, I think my guess is something that's going to probably be, more about how pain management than probably a long-term injury.
Yeah, he probably, will probably rest for a little bit. Kaiser did not have a few minutes. I think Mac took advantage of Kaiser. Because Kaiser's first debut wasn't that good.
No, I mean, the Packers kind of took a chance, when they traded Huntley away and became let Kaiser be the number 2, knowing that, Aaron Rodgers does have an injury history, like you saw last night, he's one hit away, and that, it kind of, for Packers fans, that's kind of scary, because that looks like it was if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back, they're definitely not winning that game, and if he misses several games, they're probably not winning many of those games. That's how much that team.
That's how much value Kaiser, he gets.
Starter.
Yes, in other games, it was a fantastic weekend opener, season 1 opener. I mean, it was definitely one of the best. One of the most interesting games when I was at the bar. Everyone was paying attention at the Steeler-Brown game. Browns haven't won since 2016. Do you think? Who played better, Steelers or the Browns?
I only caught, bits and pieces, a lot of highlights, from what I read. With the weather didn't, help the smoothness of the game, I think what we learned is that, the Browns are, I wouldn't say they're back, but they're getting better and they're going to compete in every game. They have their chances in that overtime, especially to win that game. Just gonna have they're gonna have to start making those little plays. They're good enough to keep in games, but they got to learn how to win games, and that kind of showed yesterday. And I kind of was impressed with what I saw. James Conner, the running back for the Steelers, filling in for Le'Veon Bell. More games like that, it's gonna. I think you're going to see Le'Veon Bell come back quicker because, if the Steelers keep on winning or not losing, I guess.
Yeah, he definitely had a good game yesterday. Tyrod Taylor, people were surprised of some plays he was making, but this was the first tie in a while for a Weekend 1 opener, so it was definitely a good impressive start of the Browns. They played the Jets the next game in Cleveland, I believe. So that might be a good opportunity to win.
Oh yeah, I guess we haven't seen the Jets play. We'll see them later on in a couple of hours. But what most people are guessing, that they're one of the weaker teams in the league. They're starting a rookie quarterback. So I think all eyes are in Cleveland to get that first win of the season next week for sure.
And one of the other bigger games, the Broncos and the Seahawks. Wow, two powerhouses kicking off the season. The Broncos won by 3 points. What you think about Case Keenum's performance?
What I heard a lot, I've seen a lot from Case Keenum last year was kind of a game manager. And I think when the Vikings were, remember the Vikings last year had Case Keenum, Teddy Bridgewater, and Sam Bradford, and they let all three of those quarterbacks kind of walk out the door to bring in Kirk Cousins. And I think there was, even though Case Keenum had success last year, this kind of idea, he doesn't have that big arm, he's more of a game manager. But last night, what I saw was a guy who wanted to go and make plays. Unfortunately for him, a couple of those plays he tried to make, he doesn't quite always have that greatest arm strength to make that, the great throws, but, gonna sling that ball around, and it seems like, the Broncos offense was a lot more wide open than they were the last year under Trevor Siemian and Brock Osweiler. It was kind of exciting, their rookie running backs, Lindsey and, Freeman were running the ball well. It was a great offensive effort, Keenum's just got to cut down on those silly mistakes, and the Broncos defensive line, they got 6 sacks yesterday on Russell Wilson, but, Russell Wilson was also did a couple of Houdini acts and found, a former Bronco, Brandon Marshall, for a long touchdown pass, and it was just kind of a really good NFL football game, back and forth, two good teams. I'm not quite, I guess time will tell if they're two good teams, but, it was just a good NFL football game.
Yes, I really like Case Keenum. He's definitely a step up from Simeon and Lynch. So I really I think this is the quarterback the Broncos need. Not is the best quarterback, but what he did last year with Minnesota kind of legitimizes him for the Broncos. And I think, who knows, maybe the Broncos might be contenders this year.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of, you look, watching the Broncos game, and I turn and look, and every time I look, the Chiefs are making big plays, I think that, a lot of people are betting on the Chargers as this could be their year, but, yesterday, the Chiefs really took it to them, a lot of, Patrick Mahomes looked really well, and
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill is exciting, they got some playmakers on that Chiefs team, It's still way too early to call this division. The only team I'm not calling is the Oakland Raiders not to win this division.
Yeah, that's something that's interesting. They have no Khalil Mack. I'm looking forward for the Rams. People are saying the Rams might win the whole thing.
The Rams have the best roster in the NFL to me. Santiago. They are a team that is literally built to win this year because the way they've put their salaries up, it is they are way over the cap in the next couple of years. They're not going to be able to keep all these players, they bring in, Brandon Cart signed a long-term deal for Aaron Donald, Todd Gurley, they're bringing in Dominico Sue. I think this could be, they bring in Aqib Talib, Pierce from Kansas City. Santiago, you just look up and down this roster and it's name brand players. And they put this all together. We'll see, but, I'd be disappointed if this team does not win 12 games this year.
Absolutely. And you're right. The NFC is wide open. Who are your top three? Maybe, you can name your top four in the NFC. Who do you think are the top four?
Well, like I just said, the Rams, the Vikings are another team with a great roster. Obviously, you can't count out this defending Super Bowl champion Eagles. They played a pretty rough game to watch that Thursday night. It didn't seem like they had everything going. It wasn't the Super Bowl team we saw last year. But, but week one, Nick Foles kind of remembered that he was a backup NFL quarterback, but we'll see, what they got in store. And I'm not going to, if they got to improve on defense, but I think the Saints are, one of the elite teams in the NFL too.
Yeah, what's the deal with that loss? Was that a big blow for the Saints? You think the Buccaneers are the real deal?
It was a big blow because the Buccaneers are playing with their backup quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick, and to have them just kind of. I just beat them, but take it to them for the whole game.
One of the things you think Fitzpatrick. Okay, he's old. No, he comes back. He still has the fire in him.
He, whenever you're down Ryan Fitzpatrick, that's when he comes, comes to play. It seems when you have all the confidence in the world in Ryan Fitzpatrick, that's when he lets you down. You ask Jets and Bills fans that. But, that's Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Santiago, that's what every NFL team needs. They need a backup quarterback that's going to come in and do his job and do it well. But in the end of the day, Ryan Fitzpatrick knows when week 4 comes, it's probably going to be Jameis Winston's team because he's still the face of that franchise.
But if I was the coach, if Fitzpatrick had one heck of a performance in the next 4 games, he wins it all and has a good performance, I'll still keep him. I mean, as my starting quarterback.
We'll see how the next couple of games go. I know they got the Eagles, and I'm not quite sure the other game. I know they had 3 really tough teams, to start the season, which most of the experts are saying they're going to start 0-3 with Ryan Fitzpatrick starting, so they're already beat that mark.
Yeah, they got the Steelers, Eagles, Steelers, Bears, and Falcons.
Okay, that's a tough stretch, Santiago. You can't expect that. They still gave up 40 points. So, and I know it's the same, but I just can't see them being able to do that consecutive, for a couple of weeks. But if he does go, 3 or 4-0, it's going to make that decision a little bit harder.
You go what? You pick the girl that you took the dance. Well, wait, hold on. What's that saying again? You you stick with the girl you took to the dance with.
Oh yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, but it's a business, Santiago, and when they're paying Jameis Winston a lot of money.
Yeah.
I don't know. You gotta see what you have in Jameis Winston because he may not be your long-term face of the franchise.
Oh no, he's not. No, and he's only 35.
We know Fitzpatrick's not, but we gotta see if Jameis Winston's still the face of the franchise of the Buccaneers. But we'll see what happens. We'll see how the next couple weeks go.
One curious game that I really enjoyed and I really thought like it was a big game was Jaguars beating the Giants in New York. 20-15. Like the Jaguars defense still has it. Jack scored a touchdown. The Giants, Saquon Barkley, wow, that's what the Giants needed for years. Obviously, Jaguars people were saying, man, it's just if they had a better quarterback. But if this quarterback is, if the team is winning with this quarterback, stick with it.
Oh, that's what they chose in Santiago in the offseason. They gave him an extension. They paid him. They didn't pay him elite quarterback money, but they kept him.
Blake Bortles, yeah.
I think the Jaguars are just happy to be, that team. They know you get them the 27 points, 30 points in a game when you're going to win that game. I guess you want to see the long-term injury of Leonard Fournette. That's kind of the big issue for me right now. The Jaguars.
They do have T.J. Yeldon.
He's that workhorse of that team.
Yeah, he's the workhorse.
T.J. Yeldon is a good compact, but the Jaguars are built on that rough, tough, running. And you don't need more than one running back when you're going to run 30 to 40 times a game.
And other games that I really liked was Redskins and Cardinals. AP had a great performance with Alex Smith. Does AP still have it in him?
I don't think for 16 games, Santiago. Ask the Cardinals last year how he started it for them. He just wears down quickly. It's just a fact. They got to keep rotating running backs in. If I was the Redskins, I'd give him a light work, mix them in, but you got to use your other backs a little bit too. But
Chris Thompson
was great yesterday for that. Chris Thompson, you got to give that ball to him too.
You're right.
Alex
AP
Smith was great, ran that off.
AP might have a shorter lifespan than we think.
Yeah, you got to extend them out. If you want them for all year, you can't go into them 20-plus times a game. But
you should become an NFL coach.
Well, maybe one day, Santiago. We'll see.
Never say never. Cowboys' offense was not impressive, but they were going up against the Panthers. What are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts is, why did they let Des Bryant go? But this is I know Des Bryant creates more trouble than sometimes the things he brings, but they that receiving core is not dangerous enough. It does not. All you're going to do is you're going to put more men in the backs, and with offensive line injury issues, they just kind of Ezekiel and Dak Prescott can really get the running game going. And they just don't have the receivers to get, they get open right now. And I think you're continuously going to see scores like that. I guess what you really got to be excited for, the Cowboys fans, how hard your defense played yesterday when they, backs against the wall that whole game and cut them in to the very end.
Quite impressive start of the season one in NFL. I really think it's going to be a great season. The Patriots beat the Texans. It was a blowout, but then the Texans were coming back. People were saying Watson did not look too good. Maybe just because he's just coming back from an injury.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't put too much into the Patriots. If this game was a couple weeks later, I think you're going to see a whole new Deshaun Watson. But they got to continue to play great defense, because that's kind of what the Texans' calling cards always been. When they're good, their defense is great, and J.J. Watt can kind of contain the other team. But going back to the Steelers, I think the best defender in the field yesterday was J.J. Watt's brother, T.J. Watt. How about that, Santiago?
I did not see him. I did not hear about him until you first mentioned it.
I think this might be one of the best brothers combination we got in the NFL right now, for sure. Is the Watt brothers, creating havoc on offenses in the NFL.
How many games do you think? The Browns are going to win this year?
I think you asked me this back in right about the NFL draft, and I think my answer is still the same. I think 4.
Well, I say 6 games. They're going to win this year. Next year, it'll increase.
I would not be surprised at 6 games. I'm just going to say, they're not going to make the playoffs. But I think you're going to see enough to get fans really excited. And I think what fans, as they start to probably, the chances to make the playoffs get smaller and smaller, it's definitely important to get Baker Mayfield on that field as soon as possible.
Yes, which I was wondering about that. Like, what week do you think you'll see Baker coming in?
I think they're going to keep Tyrod in as long as, the team is competitive and they're still got a chance to make the playoffs. Tyrod still probably gives them the best chance to win right now. But as soon as, the door opens, they're going to need to, because you got to keep the fans interested and keep them excited for next year.
Exactly. And do you think the Steelers are okay without Bell?
In the short term, yes. In the long term, no. Le'Veon Bell is one of the most versatile backs. He can run it, catch it. He just creates problems for the other team. He makes the other players on your team that much better. But like I said, James Conner is a great running back, but he is just a running back. He doesn't have the ability to come out of the backfield, catch passes. The defenses don't have to. It's one less thing the defenses have to do to game plan against the Steelers, and Bell's not on the field. So on an individual game basis, yeah, it'll be okay. But to be contenders in the Super Bowl, they're much better with Le'Veon Bell there.
And the last game that I want to talk to you about is the Dolphins and Titans. It was a really strange day. They had 2 rain delays. I think the total time was 7 hours, but the Miami Dolphins came out with a win against the Tennessee Titans.
Very strange. It's interesting because you get these finely tuned athletes here. You get them warmed up, you get them juiced up, and they stop. They come back, they stop again. To me, and I know there's a lot of logistics that go on to putting on an NFL football game, but to me, it is extremely dangerous for those guys to come back out because their the ability, the chances to get injured, I think, are a lot higher for them. Just on simple plays, but. It was a good win for the Dolphins, a good start against a good team. So
yeah, and I think Mariota's out for a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, he's got this hand issue, and they're definitely not as good a team without Mariota. Being able to run and throw the ball, Mariota that's definitely puts pressure on the other team.
And a question from the comments: does Randall Cobb still have it?
Last night he did, that's for sure. I didn't think so. I think he was going to... I shouldn't say I didn't think he had it. I just didn't think he had that explosiveness that he showed last night, Is he the player he once was? Probably not, but, I think, when they need him and they needed a big play from him last night, they gave it to him. His ability to make defenders miss was definitely on show last night.
And who's a better quarterback, Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady?
Right now, Aaron Rodgers, but Tom Brady is and always will be the GOAT to me.
He does have the official name. Anyways, that comes towards the end of the show. Let's go for predictions for tonight. Jets at Lions. Who you got?
Rookie quarterback Sam Darnold on the road against a veteran Matt Stafford, new coach Matt Patricia for the Lions. I think this game, I don't think it's going to be a complete blowout, but I think that the Lions will pull away in the second half and win, say a 24-10 type game.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. I have Matt Stafford in my fantasy, so I hope he does well. And also I have the wide receiver, I forgot his name. Totally blew it. It's okay.
Golden Tate?
Golden Tate. He is the he is the number one option, right?
Oh yeah,
by
very
far.
much so. And him and Marvin Jones, I think are kind of Marvin Jones is a big, tall receiver. Golden Tate's a little smaller and shiftier, but yeah, they're both good receivers.
And the West Coast game that I think neither of us will see, but I won't be surprised, is the Rams at the Raiders. and the return of John Gruden to the NFL. Who you got?
I think it's going to be a long night for John Gruden and the Raiders. Like I've told you, the Rams are one of the best put together rosters right now, talent-wise. Let's see if they can put it all together on the field. I think they win by at least 3 touchdowns tonight.
Yeah. Someone in the comments says Rams by 12.
That's fair. I think anything where I just don't think it's going to be competitive coming down the stretch. I don't know the number exactly, but definitely a multiple score win by the Rams would not surprise me.
And is Aaron Donald worth it?
At least bring up the first half.
And is Aaron Donald worth it?
Yeah. In the day and age where passing is becoming the primary way to move the ball down the field, you're going to need pass rushers, and Aaron Donald is great at that. He's a great run stopper. Killer Mack is, one of the best. Aaron Donald, maybe 1A and 1B is the best defenders in the NFL.
Well, there you have it. Ryan Christa, NFL Week 1 in the books. What do you expect to see this season? How do you look this season? Do you think it'll be one of the best seasons ever?
We'll see. You got, this is like overreaction Monday. When it comes to the NFL, everybody's happy, everybody's sad. It's a 16-game season. You got to kind of take it in stride. You can't, if you're a Buffalo Bills fan right now, you're probably wanting to jump off a bridge because your season's already over. And I would say don't overreact, but they were pretty bad yesterday, so you might want to be cautious not to.
Oh, I forgot to talk about that game. The Bills started that quarterback. No one knows who he is. I don't know who he is. And the Ravens which people were saying Flacco was doing good because he's playing for a contract.
He's playing good because they just drafted a quarterback in the first round, Lamar Jackson. So he knows if he doesn't bring it, even for most of this year, there's a chance that they do fall out of playoff contention. This is Lamar Jackson's team from this year going forward. So he's got the pressure to succeed right now.
That's right.
Not just to play for the Ravens, to play for anybody.
That's right. That's a good. I forgot that one minor detail. Lamar Jackson, which he did came in the second half, and he did bring in something. So,
hey, even in while the game, before they put him as a quarterback, he was on the field a lot. Made defenses think. Gave a lot for future opponents. To know that they both can be on the field at the same time.
Well, there you have it. They could do the pull the Alabama thing, Alabama card.
Exactly. Well, kind of something like that,
Which so far 2 out is doing good.
2 out is amazing, Santiago. This is 2A's team. I think it's 2A's Heisman to lose right now.
Believe it or not, we covered almost.
That might be an overreaction.
Yeah. Believe it or not, we've covered every NFL game from yesterday. So even though there's one that covers more than others, but we definitely covered every game. So far, so good. Ryan, how can people reach you?
Best way to reach me: Twitter, Mad Dog 4, Facebook. Look me up, Ryan Christa. Love me this time of year. It's good to have college and NFL back in the same weekend right now. It's as the weather in the Northeast gets cooler, the leaves are changing. It's time to heat up the football fields for sure.